I love manga, so every Sunday morning on Twitter, I tweet about Weekly Shonen Jump. New chapters are released on Sunday morning for me, so I like reading the new chapters all cozied up in my bed. Now that the year's almost over and the 2023 issues are basically done, I wanted to talk about my opinions on each series and the ones that were axed, because it would be fun. Some of these series I've read while some I have not, but I will talk about every manga since this is about Weekly Shonen Jump 2023, along with a small rating out of 10, with some spoilers of course, so be wary of that. These are just my thoughts and opinions, so please don't attack me. But if you don't like what I say, I am willing to hear your opinions in the comments below. I'll read them. Okay, well, introduction done. I suck at transitioning. Let's start alphabetically. Akane-Banashi had a really good run this year, and currently a 9 out of 10 for me. We had some great arcs, and while some chapters did feel weaker than usual, the quality stayed the same for me. The Fetching Tea arc was good, but I did think it wasn't as great as the previous ones, which made me think like, oh no, is Akane falling off? But I had nothing to fear. The Sensa Rensekai arc gave me hope once again for this series, and since then, there hasn't been a single miss for me personally. I do have to say the introduction of Nin, while short, is such a good idea for a series like this, because now we can somewhat power scale characters Rakugo, which is funny. I put Black Clover on hold last year, and I haven't touched it since. Now that it got moved to Giga, I think I might start reading it again since it's the beginning of the end for this series. I got around chapter 50 and I saw the appeal for it, but don't see why there's so many people online fighting and defending that it's peak. Maybe it gets really good later down in the series, but I wouldn't know. Sucks it moved to Giga, and honestly, you Black Clover fans have like 2 years max before it ends, so have fun. I read the one shot for Blue Box and it's really cute. It made me want to read it and see where it goes in the future. Now with the anime announcement, there's more of an incentive to start the series, so maybe I will start it sometime next year. The art looks really cute, so I probably will. Cipher Academy is the only series I have dropped from the magazine, and it's a 5 out of 10 for me. It can work much better as a novel than a manga, which makes sense when you remember the author is Issa Nishio, the writer of the Monogatari series. It always felt like the manga was looking down at me, and the Kogoe notes made it seem like I was too dumb to understand what was happening. Maybe it changed, but I wouldn't know and don't really care unless someone convinces me that it's good. Then I'll probably pick it up again. Retry was weird and it was an obvious axe when it first came out. Can't give it anything but a 5 out of 10. It's just mediocre, even with its funny ass character designs. You can tell when they told the mangaka to wrap it up because it starts sprinting through its story. It's a bad story, but I think it did a good job with its ending. It's not the best, but it left a nice message to the fans who really did love it, which is always nice to see.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
On Twitter, I did a whole reaction reading thing on Dr. Stone for the first time because they announced a new 3-chapter miniseries, Dr. Stone 4D Science. Only a chapter is out right now, but I like what it wants to do, and the cliffhanger was so damn cool, and I was getting all hyped up when I saw that Senku's project worked. It was like the most excited I've gotten reading manga. This could be an incredible miniseries, but since we don't know what the last 2 chapters are, I have to give it a 7 out of 10. I hope it does really well because I just want more Dr. Stone.
He did the Monster Man.
Fabricant 100 seemed like it was gonna stay for a very long time, but it got axed. It had a cool dynamic between Ashibi and 100 that grew throughout the series, and it was really cute to see. The action scenes were great, and the supporting cast, while not fully developed, were also pretty cool. I personally liked them. The story is what carried it for me, and Even if it did rush through its ending, it had a way better ending than most other acts to manga. It's an easy 7 out of 10. Also, the covers are fucking amazing. I like.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing on my house?
I think that Ginka and Luna had a good start, but it became pretty boring at its halfway point. It had cool ideas, especially with its ending, which would have hit if it kept going, but sadly it didn't. It had a cool world and it had really nice art too, but it couldn't carry the story, which was, as I said, boring. Not much to say really. 6 out of 10.
Eagle, you have great tits.
So I can't really say much about this series yet because it only has 3 chapters, but Green Green Greens is my favorite of the 2 new series in Jump. It has a lot of potential, and I think Yaisaki is a good mix of arrogant and cocky, if that makes sense. It has one of the better first chapters for the newcomer lineup this year, and I just hope it does well next year. It would be sad to see it go. 7 out of 10. I have not read High School Family, and I don't know when or if I will. From what I can tell, it looks like a funny gag manga, so that gives me an incentive, but I'm still not sure. The art looks nice, and it has a 6 on my anime list, which is a 7 when it comes to ranking gag manga. Yeah, I don't know if you guys in the comments have read it, so tell me your thoughts about it. I would like to know. So HunterxHunter has been on a year hiatus, and I don't think we will be getting any new chapters until maybe April, late May. Togashi has posted an image of him working on new chapters, which is hype, but that just means we're probably only getting chapters every other year. I hope you HunterxHunter fans are ready for that release schedule, but I'm good since I haven't caught up yet.
Bro, who told Young Thug to do this?
Icehead Gill was just horrible. I have nothing good to say about this series. It was slow and boring. Using axes as a weapon is so cool, but there's no hype when the power system behind the axe is how many spins in the air you do before landing a hit. Gill does get a cool power up, but it was already too late because funnily enough, it got axed. 4 out of 10.
Yo, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Ichigoki's Under Control is a solid 5 out of 10, but it was so much fun. It got axed very early, and you can see when it happened because the mangaka just started doing anything they wanted to do. It was so much fun reading each week's chapter because, in all honesty, it's very easy to make me laugh, but this one just did not take itself seriously and I loved it.
Leave me alone!
This year, Jujutsu Kaisen had an amazing run and another easy 9 out of 10 for me. The Culling Game arc got wrapped up, and I know some people who dislike it, but I think Gege did it alright with it. The Shinjuku Shodan arc has been good so far, and the arguments I saw online of Gojo vs Sukuna was so much fun. I do have to say that the sudden swap to Kenjaku versus Takaba was disappointing, but it was most likely done to think about how the trial against Sukuna is going to work out. Plus, it gave us one of my favorite fights in the series. It was so much fun. The series probably only has one more year left in serialization, so I hope Gege ends it with a big bang. You have probably heard of Kagurabachi from the week before its release. People were hyping it up like crazy, and did it live up to the hype? Honestly, to me, yeah. It has an average revenge story, but the action is a ton of fun. I like that Chihiro is the only person who knows how to counter against the other enchanted blades, but it doesn't mean he can win the fight. You can tell Hokusona knows their stuff because some of these pages are just so well drawn and the paneling is amazing. The only critique is that they do need to work on more facial expressions, but they're starting to do that, so I only hope the series stays strong. 8 out of 10. Kill Blue is one of those series where if you didn't like it at first, there's no maybe it gets better. It is usually comedic and doesn't take itself seriously, but when it does, it's hard to take it seriously. The characters are just too much. Like for example, Kohasame. He uses a pacifier and if he doesn't have it, he gets nervous. Is it funny? Yeah, but When an entire soccer match was at stake because he lost it and the girls had to find his spare, I couldn't take it seriously. It's still a fun story, but like I said, if you don't like it at first, you won't enjoy it later. 7 out of 10.
MamaYuyu. Digo, glu, 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 glu.
MamaYuyu was that one series that people picked up because Fujimoto recommended it. I think that the story is interesting, but it hasn't done anything to make it fun. I find it fun already, but it needs to do more to stay in the magazine. It has some strong characters, and the abilities shown off have been cool. The series' strongest aspect is the paneling and the art. Chapter 1 had some of the most experimental panels I've ever seen, and I had full hope for the series day one. It still has some cool pages, but not compared to the first chapter, so overall 8 out of 10.
I can break these cuffs.
You can't break those cuffs.
I have not read Mashle, Magic, and Muscle, but from what I've heard, it's good. From what I've seen, fans describe it as One Punch Man, but with magic, which I don't know how accurate that is, but it sounds like it could be fun, but again, I haven't read it, so I'm definitely going to pick it up sometime soon, but I have other stuff I want to read first, so another one to the backlog, I guess.
Oh, this is the funniest shit.
Like I said with Ichigoki, it's very easy to make me laugh, but me and Roboco is such a funny series that it's hard for me to read it at night because I wake up my sisters. I feel like it's a series that loves manga from all ages and makes jokes referencing old and new manga. It's not for everyone, just like any other comedy manga, but please give it a chance if you haven't. It's an 8 out of 10.
Family, 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 family.
So I haven't read Mission Yozokura Family, but I have read a bit of chapter 1. I don't know if I got bored or I had to do something else, but I just remember I stopped reading after 4 pages and I haven't picked it up since. I can't say much about it, but it looks cool. Volume 1 makes me want to read it, so hopefully next time later in the year, I pick it up.
Delaware! Detroit! Smash!
That's it. Oh, come on, Deku.
My Hero Academia this year was a solid 8 out of 10, but I think Horikoshi is fumbling a bit. Ochako vs Toga was so good, and we got the return of the best duo, Gentle and La Brava, which was awesome. The fight versus All For One and All Might was so cool, but I genuinely think that Bakugo should have stayed dead. It just feels like Horikoshi was too scared to kill him off and had to bring him back while using someone else's death to take his place. Horikoshi wants a sad, heartbreaking death, but is too afraid to do it with any of the main cast. Since it seems like My Hero Academia might be ending next year, I hope Horikoshi can wrap it all up without making the final war seem like just a big fight. It's like praying on a coin flip with this series, so all I can do is hope.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I hate newest Exorcist. It's an easy 3 out of 10 for me, and I just hate it. It has a boring protag who does nothing for himself. All of the things he has done are because of Nue. The series doesn't know if it wants to be an ecchi or battle manga. It wants to do ecchi moments while also being 100% serious with itself, which it fails to do. The girls are what's carrying the series, and they're not even that good. They have some personality, but not much more than the protag. Only enough for people to think that they have character. It is only Japan that loves it, and you know when people move on from the girls, it's gonna be raps for this series. I would like to say that in the future it improves, but I have no hope that it does. I just want it to end already.
I've got the come fruit. Oh, hell no, pause. Like, I attract things to me, like, I make them come here. Yeah. This fight was not about to happen.
If you follow me on Twitter, you also know that I love One Piece. There has not been a single chapter this year where it was less than good. Every new chapter has been great. Egghead Island is looking to be one of the best arcs in the series and such a great introduction to the final saga. We finally got one of the 5 elders on the battlefield, and their devil fruit is just insane. Kuma's backstory has been heartbreaking this entire time. It's going to be amazing when he sees Luffy in Gear 5 and he finally sees the Warrior of Liberation. I might be heavily biased, but it's been an incredible year for One Piece, and I can't give it anything but a 10 out of 10. It's just so perfect right now, and I can't wait to see what Oda cooks up for this final saga and what we get to see next year. PPPPP. PPPPP has a weird name and unique art style, but I've never read it. How many is that now? Like, I'm not even sure. I never saw people talking about it until it ended, so I did not have any interest in reading it. It's just going to be another series to put into the backlog and read in the far future. Sakamoto Days has already been a lot of fun, but this past year has been the best it's ever been. The end of the JCC infiltration arc has some of my absolute favorite fight scenes ever. It showed that it's the best right now in the magazine when it comes to fights. Taro Sakamoto's past was so good, giving more backstory to someone who we didn't really know much about until this arc. I do have to admit that while the Bangkok arc was good, it cannot compare to the two arcs before it. Currently, the Assassin Exhibition of the Century arc has been great, full of great fights and character moments. I am so excited to see what the series does next year, and it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Face it!
Tenmaku Cinema.
Gone forever, and it's never coming back!
Tenmaku Cinema was something different that could have been one of the best series this year. While it had a huge fanbase in the West, it did poorly in Japan. A manga about movie making is something that would have worked so well, and it was, but something like this in Weekly Shonen Jump has a huge probability of being axed. It had a decent ending, but I still just think of what could have been if the series kept going. A personal 8 out of 10 for me, and sucks that it got cancelled. The Elusive Samurai is something I want to read since it was written by the same mangaka who wrote Assassination Classroom. I love that series, so I want to see what he has been working on recently. I have heard some mixed receptions from this series, but I hope that it's good. We'll find time to read it sometime next year. The Ichinose family's deadly sin ended a year after serialization, and I think it did extremely well. I might be biased since I am Tyson 5's #1 Schmidt writer, but it's pretty good. Some people don't like the constant twists and turns, but I think that they were done in an interesting way and it was kind of the point, but I do understand the criticisms. This series' strongest point is the entire family portrayal because damn, can I see some of my own family through the Ichinoses. Easy 8 out of 10 for me, and I cannot wait to see what Tyson 5 does next because I will be there no matter what. Tokyo Demon Bride story had a good chapter 1 that reminded me of Nisekoi, weirdly enough. It just matched the same vibe and I was excited to see what it did, but it never did anything. It spent the majority of its run introducing girl after girl with no real story, just to then switch it into a battle manga. It planted the seeds for one, but it just felt like a desperate attempt to get fans. It had a fine ending, but it could have been done much better. The best thing about it was the art. It was nice to look at, and the covers are good, so for that, 6 out of 10. I am currently enjoying 2 on Ice, and it's a solid 7 out of 10, but everyone knows it's gonna be axed. I don't want to believe that, but a manga about 2 kids figure skating is not a good fit for the magazine like Jump. The story is good, the characters are great, and the art is nice, but it's just doomed to fail. It's a good series targeted to the wrong audience, and it will take a miracle for it to stay, but only time will tell with this one.
Oh, Mel, get up. No, he did. Oh shit, man, I thought she was dead, man, my bad.
I love Undead Unluck, and it had a great run this year. Fuko has shown that she can stand on her own as a great pro tag without the help of Andy. Every arc has been a lot of fun, but they did speedrun through them quickly. I get it, Fuko is recruiting members we already know, but out of the 7 arcs that happened this year, only the Sick arc lasted more than 10 chapters, and it was only by 1. They were still a lot of fun, and it had some of my favorite moments in the series. It's just that I wish it took its time more. It is nice seeing a loop where everyone is living a better life and even developing those who were killed off early in the series. But I just wish there was more time for them to hang out. I am so hyped for what the series does next year, and it's another 9 out of 10.
I feel like a fucking celebrity in this town.
What a bad way to end the video with the series I haven't touched. But Witch Watch looks like a lot of fun. As someone who decides to read a series based on the volume 1 cover, I want to read it. I have zero idea what the series could be about, but the cover is cute, and I need to find some time to read it just based on that. And that's it. Sorry for the long video after no uploads. I had to lock in for college and didn't have time to do anything else. I want to do this again next year, but it's going to be twice a year. One in the summer and the other in the winter. Doing the same thing as this video, but just much shorter. Hopefully I keep this promise because I really want to do it every year, but only time will tell. If you reached the end of the video, thank you so much. Your support means a lot to me. My socials are in the description, so follow those if you want. I sometimes stream on Twitch, but usually just on Twitter messing around. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Another awkward ending, but my name is Roardo Emo, and thank you so much for watching.
¿Qué habrá adentro?